The Detroit Pistons are one win away from pushing the Cleveland Cavaliers to the brink of elimination. But to do it, they have to break a perfect 5-0 home court postseason record. Game 3 offered Detroit that exact opportunity. They built a 17-point lead, controlling the pace and the paint, only to watch it completely disintegrate. Looking at this dual-axis probability graph, you can track the exact timeline of the collapse. Detroit's win probability plummets here in the fourth quarter, as Cleveland's trajectory sharply overtakes it. That reversal was engineered by Donovan Mitchell. His 35-point, 10-rebound performance signaled a structural shift in offensive geometry. He stopped pulling up and started attacking the rim. That interior pressure forced Detroit's defense to collapse, opening the floor for James Harden to operate in isolation. He closed the game with 7 efficient points in the final 90 seconds. Game 4 is a test of how Cleveland's point-of-attack traps interact with Detroit's shrinking floor spacing. To understand Cleveland's success in Game 3, we have to examine their primary tactical adjustment: downhill pressure. This shot chart highlights Mitchell's approach in Games 1 and 2. The heavy cluster of perimeter jump shots allowed Detroit's defense to stay home. In Game 3, that pattern vanished. Mitchell aggressively drove the ball 26 times, getting downhill before Detroit could load the floor. Driving with this frequency forces interior defenders to commit early. It creates physical contact, disrupts positioning, and generates trips to the free throw line. Forcing the opposing defense to collapse inward is the required catalyst for Cleveland's entire half-court offense to function. Cleveland paired this offensive aggression with a specific defensive counter. They deployed second-year guard Jalen Tyson as a physical point-of-attack stopper against Cade Cunningham. When Cunningham called for a pick-and-roll, Cleveland executed a hard trap. Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen blitzed the screen, converging directly on the ball handler. This pressure isolates the point guard. By doubling the ball, Cleveland effectively cuts off primary passing angles to the floor. The statistical fallout from this trap was immediate. Cunningham posted a 27-point triple-double in Game 3, but he was also forced into 8 turnovers. 3 of those giveaways happened in a 41-second span late in the fourth quarter. Each live ball turnover directly fed Cleveland's transition offense, reversing the game's momentum. Raw box score numbers like a triple-double can be misleading. If the offensive engine leaks empty possessions through live ball turnovers, the high-scoring output loses its value. Detroit's inability to break this trap is rooted in a structural vulnerability found on their injury report. This floor spacing diagram shows why this matters. Kevin Huerter possesses elite perimeter gravity. Without his outside shooting threat, a crucial offensive outlet disappears. Combine that with the absence of Caris LeVert. Without his dribble penetration, Detroit loses the ability to punish defenders. The effect cascades. Without these perimeter threats to stretch the floor, the defense no longer has to respect the wings. This personnel scarcity makes Cleveland's trapping scheme highly effective. Detroit lacks the outlets required to break the pressure. Breaking that trap now becomes the sole responsibility of Detroit's secondary rotational pieces. Duncan Robinson acts as the primary pressure release valve. To force Cleveland to widen their defense, he now has to hit contested threes at a high volume. On the other end, second-year wing Ron Holland must shoulder a massive defensive burden. He is tasked with logging heavy minutes to guard elite isolation scorers like Mitchell and Harden in half-court sets. Compare Detroit's depleted backcourt with Cleveland's health report. The Cavaliers enter Game 4 completely intact, with only deep bench center Thomas Bryant listed as questionable. Playoff series are rarely decided by the stars at the top of the roster. They are decided by which team's rotational depth holds up longest under pressure. Looking at this matrix, we see how the market reads the matchup. The left shows the spread favoring Cleveland at -3.5, but the right side shows the over-under line. Since the series began, that total has dropped from 227.5 down to 213.5. The historical data justifies that movement. Game 1 yielded exactly 212. Game 2 dropped to 204. Game 3 landed at 225. None of these matchups have exceeded the initial sportsbook projections. The early models were misaligned with how these teams are actually operating on the floor. The betting market is finally catching up to the tactical reality. This is a grinding, defense-first playoff series, not a fast-paced regular season shootout. The underlying pace metrics support that low-scoring projection. Detroit boasts an elite half-court defense, allowing only 104.7 points per 100 possessions this postseason. Cleveland's offensive strategy plays into that tempo. Relentless striving slows the game down by utilizing the shot clock and creating physical contact in the paint. Simultaneously, Detroit's offensive bottleneck around Cunningham results in fewer transition opportunities, forcing longer, stagnant possessions. Combining elite half-court defense with a deliberate physical offense creates a downward pressure on total point accumulation. We are looking at two intersecting tactical models: Cleveland's home court downhill pressure matching up against Detroit's turnover-prone, depleted spacing. These variables suggest Cleveland is better positioned to level the series tonight. Here is the official Insight Engine projection for Game 4. Cavaliers 110, Pistons 105. Based on the anticipated slow pace, the most sound wager is the game total under 213.5, paired with Cade Cunningham over 9.5 assists. The over on Cunningham's assists acts as a smart hedge. If Detroit's coaching staff adjusts to the trap, they will force him to pass out of double teams early to find open shooters. Now it is your turn to read the board. Will Detroit's secondary shooters hold up under pressure, or will Cleveland's traps break the series wide open? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe to Insight Engine for more high-level NBA tactical breakdowns and